the Sony A90J is really a top TV for 2021, maybe the best of the year. But that doesn't mean it's perfect. Even a Master Series OLED can have its flaws, and the same can be said with a Master installer. I'm going to go over the setup and install of the Sony A90J, along with my overall experience and buying recommendations. Make sure to smash the like button if you enjoy this and want others to get to see it. Subscribe to the channel for the best installs and TV reviews, and set the bell to all so you know when I upload a new video. Definitely comment below if you've had any drama with the A90J or any other TV in 2021. So I actually had the 55-inch A90J for a review, and because I liked it so much, I decided to swap it out for a 65-inch. And I'll get more into the size versus cost for me and for you in a second. But because it's a remarkable OLED, I really wanted to get it out of the box as soon as possible and eventually on the wall. In my A90J review, I had put the feet on backwards, which set the TV up higher, and I assumed I did it wrong and lowered it back down. But you can actually put the feet on either way. Low profile if you want a super clean look, or higher up if you have a soundbar. And after thinking about it, it's nice to have that option. It's definitely a personal choice, but I know there are a lot of customers with nice TVs that also have kid handprints on the screen. And many times I've seen other people cleaning around TVs, and I'm not sure if it's just me, but that low profile makes me nervous that the TV is going to get scratched by something. But whether it's to create more table space or to get it up and out of the way of destructive kids, I've always liked the idea of wall mounting TVs. And so I'm wall mounting the 65-inch Sony A90J, which will replace a smaller 55-inch Sony A8H. Now that Sony A8H is a fantastic TV, but the viewing distance from the TV and the TV size have a dramatic effect on your viewing experience. And our previous bedroom was shorter from bed to TV, so the 55 was sufficient. But with nearly 5 feet more space from the end of the bed to the TV, it has made it a little less fun and a little harder to see. In addition, we have a window behind the bed that faces south, so having that window open for fresh air then creates a bright glare into the room in the morning. Now, I'm not sure watching TV in the morning is your top priority, but when I do, even the best OLED can lack the nits to beat back the reflection, like the Samsung KS8000 that first occupied the space. And sometimes the layout of the room is prioritized over the positioning of the TV. And of course, I can just get my lazy butt up and close the shades. But the goal was twofold: to increase the TV size to 65-inch and to upgrade to the newer and brighter Sony A90J OLED. So with any installation, you need to do your math and determine how to best position the TV. What will be around it, how high it'll be, etc. But when there's an existing TV, and in this case a soundbar already installed, it's just easier to work off of that. More often than not, you'll have to move the mount to get the new TV to sit in a similar position as the old one, because many people are buying different brands with different mounting patterns, or like us, upgrading the size. And because this is a 65-inch versus the 55-inch, and because I was already using a pretty cheap Amazon mount, I figured with the Sony A90J 65-inch Master Series OLED that I should pony up at least $40 and get a stronger Mounting Dream arm mount. So the entire mount on the wall was out the door, and I needed to put new brackets on the new TV and do the math. And then it's pretty easy to just put the whole mount together and measure from the bottom of the TV to the top of the wall plate to know the exact measurement in order to get the TV on the wall where you expect. And in this instance, the limiting factor is the top of the soundbar. So for a clean look, I'll give it a couple inches of clearance and then mark the bottom and measure up to the top of that wall plate, and you're set. I already have the center mark from the old install, and in this case, the studs in the room don't align perfectly with the mount and having the TV centered. So I plan to just use one stud because it's pretty central, and I'm confident that this single stud behind thick plaster wall is sufficient to bear the weight of this TV, even on an arm mount. But it is better to hit 2 studs or 4 points in a stone wall. And it's as simple as drilling a couple of holes in the middle of the stud, using the strong lag bolts that come with the mount, and securing them by hand tightening, not to break the heads off and have a TV come crashing down. And just to give it a little extra support, I tagged the top corners with toggle bolts just to prevent any shifting of the mount. So I brought the big guns in to help lift the TV, and of course, this is not the first time she's helped me on an install before, but after we had gotten this big sucker up on the wall plate, Jen was showing her normal get her done sort of energy. But that excitement was short-lived, because after I spent 30 minutes wiring it up and dialing the Google TV in, I noticed a couple things that were not great for any TV or install. And I'll get to the overall picture quality, but once the 65-inch A90J was lit up and on a shot that panned left to right, I noticed a significant amount of banding both vertically and horizontally. It was night and day from the 55-inch A90J that I had reviewed. That screen seemed to show very minimal vignetting in the corners, even to a trained eye, probably nothing I would have noticed when watching content. But on the 65-inch, there was significant banding. The worst uniformity issue was that the left 1/3 of the screen was a different shade than the right 2/3. So when anything bright was on the screen, even with minimal side-to-side or vertical movement, it was very noticeable. And my wife and kids are starting to learn some terms they probably never intended, but everyone found the issue within seconds of looking at this TV and learned what dirty screen effect means. And then I took a breath. Understanding that I would rectify the situation, it finally dawned on me that the TV was way too high for the room and the stand underneath. And I did consider that the TV was 5 inches taller, but I really didn't give a proper thought to how low the bookcase was below. And a quick side story on that is that I initially set a 55-inch Samsung KS8000 and soundbar up so that I could fit another 55-inch TV under it to compare. And I would spend multiple nights watching both TVs and make sure I understood the differences between whatever I was comparing. And when I was doing a new 55-inch TV every week in late 2020, I was swapping those out so fast that I really didn't care about the height or that it prevented me from having a stand or dresser below. Well, I've moved all that into another room. We've done the 4-way comparisons and realized that that's a bit bulky and none of the TVs get a ton of use. So now it's just down to 2 at a time in the office. The point of this is that moving the work out of the bedroom now frees me up to put a 65-inch OLED that seems like the best fit for our room and the viewing distance at a more manageable height over the lower profile bookshelf. So these are things that I would immediately communicate when advising a client. Things like what will go under the TV? Do you want it to be centered on the bed? Or if there's a doorway, do we want it centered on the wall? Do you want it higher or lower? With all the excitement of putting this new A90J up for my wife, I just completely dropped the ball on the final outcome and didn't seek any sort of consultation. And really, my wife was cool about the height, but agreed since we were going to have to address the first Sony A90J due to the uniformity issue that we should also just lower the TV and soundbar. Now I have a great relationship with different vendors and I refer a lot of business to a lot of companies, but the Best Buy Magnolia Design Room here in San Diego has been a popular spot for me to refer business to because they always have a lot of stock, especially on things that are hard to find. And most people in California are in a rush to get their new toys. So without hesitation, they ordered me another Sony A90J 65-inch, which has been extremely popular due to its GOAT-type status in the TV world so far this year. And I dragged that sucker home and started a second attempt at creating the perfect bedroom setup. So this time, we actually removed the soundbar completely and decided to space the TV about 15 inches above the bookcase and again have the soundbar a couple inches lower. This would put the TV at a better viewing height and would look better relative to the case below. And there's still room for decorations and a better soundbar when I decide to upgrade. And the added bonus to lowering the TV nearly a foot was that the power outlet that was already installed at a certain height for the other TVs was now above the TV mount versus directly behind it. So it was no longer the limiting factor on how far I could push the TV back like it was the first attempt. You can also avoid that sort of limitation with the recessed power outlet. And if you're building this out ahead of time, place the power outlet or low voltage boxes offset a bit from center so they don't end up right behind where the mount needs to go. Now that the A90J and soundbar are installed lower, I will turn it on and check for any sort of issues. I probably would have avoided the double install if I had followed my own recommendation that you get your TV home and set it up before you make an installation appointment, because no one wants to pay twice if the TV has technical issues or is just damaged in shipping. So if you have some basic understanding of TVs and are comfortable that you're not going to break the TV, then take it out. Turn it on to make sure that it's not damaged. Get the Wi-Fi password in there. Make sure that you like it first, and then you can always get it installed on the wall after the fact. Maybe if I had kept it on the stand for a day or two, I would have found the uniformity issue and realized lower might have been a more reasonable height. Fortunately for me, the second 65-inch Sony A90J looked much better than the previous unit, both the dirty screen effect and the installation. There was no uniformity issues, let alone the grid-like banding that there was in the first. So I was all ready to get the wiring and setup finished. So now the second time I'm putting that 4K Apple TV on a Sony A90J, and I'm still rocking the older Samsung soundbar. Both of these remotes have disappeared over time, but we're instantly connected to the TV and both function great with the Sony Universal Remote. Now the Sony A90J does have pretty good sound for a TV, and it's pretty cool how the sound comes out of the TV screen. But even the mighty A90J sound quality can't compete with the mid-range soundbar that pushes over 300 watts, especially wall-mounted and 12 feet away. So the Samsung soundbar and sub combo will remain the top option that turns on and off with the eARC enabled HDMI port. And the A90J install is also much improved now that I actually considered the surroundings versus just slapping it on the wall. Lowering it fills in the space above the bookcase, and with a little gray or grayish paint and some decoration, I think we're starting to settle in. The wife is even happy with the new backlit remote, so we can now more easily fight over the volume and whether it's going to be Cobra Kai or the Bridgertons tonight. And we all know who's going to win this battle. Crap. But it's such a good show. Now comes a tough question. Is the Sony A90J worth the premium price? And that is definitely a hard sell for the everyman or woman out there. The Sony A90J has a definite and noticeable increase in brightness and fantastic picture quality. The XR processor really polishes up content, both normal cable viewing and especially HDR movies and shows. The HDR highlights are really incredible. And once I got that second unit that had none of the banding that the first 65-inch had, I was in a better headspace to evaluate its worth. I will say that those who are looking for the top TV will likely be quite happy as long as they don't settle for one of the bad panels. And there's really nothing new about buying the best of the best when it's possible, and I've heard mostly great things for this A90J. But if I had to make a decision as a very honest and practical AV consultant that I've been over the years, I would say that there's a lot of good TVs that you could and should consider. OLEDs like the LG C10 and the newer C1, or the Sony A8H and the newer A80J. I mean, that's already 4 OLEDs that's offering between 70 and 80% of the quality for half the price or less. But the big competition in the US for the A90J is the very sleek LG G1 Gallery Series OLED with its own brighter Evo panel that starts at just $2,800 versus the $4,000 A90J. I mean, the biggest complaint I've heard about that TV is that it doesn't come with feet. So $1,200 less with no feet. I mean, you could buy feet. And of course, we'll have to see how the prices go this year. LG starts lower, and we'll see if and when Sony makes a move. But for most people, the Sony A90J is intentionally overpriced to make you feel that sting of a premium product and to make you want it more. So it wasn't a perfect install, and maybe it's not a perfect buy for everyone. It is quite expensive. But we're quite happy with the TV size upgrade, as well as the amazing HDR picture quality that the Sony A90J has over anything that's been here in the past. So I hope this video has helped in some way. Let me know how your TV buying experience have been this year. I'm always happy to kind of push you into making a buying decision. Make sure to smash the like button on the way out and subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when I upload. And with a little help, you can be the installer.